Welcome back to Video Game News Daily, the only essential second screen experience for gamers who need the latest from the games industry. To get notified of new episodes, sign up to the mailing list at signup.videogamenewsdaily.com and subscribe to this podcast for game news every weekday. It's Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. Let's get to the news. People are trying to figure out what the Game Awards' mysterious statue means, with God of War and Diablo ruled out. The Game Awards is teasing a new game reveal with a mysterious statue plonked in the middle of Los Angeles, and nobody can quite work out what franchise it belongs to. Jeff Keighley posted the statue along with the phrase, "regal inspiring thickness," which is actually a What 3 Words location tag, not a stealth hint that Kratos has been bulking. Fans have already ruled out God of War and Diablo, and the speculation machine is happily overheating ahead of the show. The artist whose designs were used in Marathon without permission says it has been resolved to my satisfaction. The Scottish artist who accused Bungie of using her graphic design work in Marathon without permission now says the dispute has been resolved to my satisfaction. Earlier this year, Bungie admitted a former staffer had incorporated her work into decal sheets, then pulled footage and promised a full review of inappropriately sourced art. The resolution terms aren't public, but after months of bad headlines over plagiarism, this is at least one reputational fire Bungie and Sony can tick off the list. Xbox has announced the first 12 Game Pass titles for December, including Mortal Kombat 1. Microsoft's kicked off the December Game Pass cycle with a 12-game slate, headlined by Mortal Kombat 1 and Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Console, PC, and cloud all get in on the action, with the lineup covering fighting games, superhero brawlers, and the usual spread of time wasters you just try for a minute and somehow lose a weekend to. VGC reminds everyone it gave MK1 a 5-star review back in 2023, calling it the best Mortal Kombat to date. So that's one more backlog item you'll pretend you have time for. And of course, with sources in the show notes, you can check out the full 12-game list for yourself. Splinter Cell Remake has a new director, and it's the same one who left 3 years ago. The Splinter Cell Remake has a new game director, who's also the old game director. David Grivell, who previously led the project between late 2021 and 2022, before leaving Ubisoft for a new adventure, has announced on LinkedIn that he's back at Ubisoft Toronto and once again in charge of the stealth reboot. It's a rare case of we're bringing the band back together, actually being literal, and hopefully a sign that the project has stopped sneaking around and started moving forward. Shovel Knight studio Yacht Club Games is make or break and relying on its next game's success. Yacht Club Games, the studio behind Shovel Knight, says the success of its long-awaited game, Mina the Hollower, is basically make or break for the company. In an interview picked up by VGC, co-founder Sean Velasco admits that if Mina doesn't perform, the studio will need more money to survive, which is indie dev speak for, this is our all-in bet. The game was supposed to launch on October 31st, but was delayed to an unspecified future date, which doesn't exactly lower the pressure. EA Sports FC 26 adds 10 Classic 11 squads, designed for local multiplayer. EA Sports FC 26 has added 10 Classic 11 squads to Kickoff and Kickoff Rush modes, bundling icons, heroes, and current players into curated super teams. The idea is to bring these Ultimate Team legends into the part of the game people actually use for couch multiplayer, instead of burying them inside card packs and menus. It's a rare move that seems aimed at people who like football more than spreadsheets, which is a refreshing twist for EA. Mario Kart World's latest update lets players customize items and identify music tracks. Mario Kart World's 1.4.0 update is live, and quietly adds a bunch of quality of life stuff that the fans have been asking for. Players in non-ranked competitive modes can now customize which items appear in races, so if you've ever wanted to delete the blue shell from existence, this is your moment. The patch also tweaks multiple track layouts, adds a music volume slider, and lets you see which game each song comes from, which is great for both nostalgia and arguments. The first review for Octopath Traveler 0 has been published. The first review for Octopath Traveler 0 has dropped in Japanese magazine Famitsu, with 4 reviewers handing out scores of 8, 9, 9, and 8, for a total of 34 out of 40. According to VGC's write-up, the review praises the story, its emotional beats, added battle depth, and a town rebuilding mechanic that actually feels rewarding, instead of like busy work. The game hits all platforms on December 4th, so it's one more chunky JRPG landing right before your holiday backlog eats you alive. A limited edition Genshin Impact DualSense controller is coming to PS5. PlayStation has announced a limited edition Genshin Impact DualSense controller for PS5 because of course it has. The pad lands early next year in limited quantities at $84.99 US, €84.99 Euro, and £74.99, with a white, gold, and green design covered in Genshin glyphs plus emblems for Ether, Lumine, and Paimon. In other words, it's a perfectly engineered piece of merch aimed at players who already spend more on gacha pulls than on rent. Mega Lucario Z has debuted in a new Pokémon Legends Z to A Mega Dimension trailer. A new trailer for Pokémon Legends Z to A Mega Dimension has revealed Mega Lucario Z, giving the fan-favourite fighter a second Mega form. That puts Lucario in the same exclusive club as Charizard, Pikachu, and Mewtwo, Pokémon that can Mega Evolve into multiple variants, this time with a light yellow and cyan colour scheme instead of the usual red and black. The form debuts in the game's first DLC expansion, so yes, even your Pokémon now come in Season Pass exclusive flavours. That's all for today. Subscribe to the Video Game News Daily podcast, sign up to the mailing list at signup.videogamenewsdaily.com for all the news sources and to get notified when a new episode drops. And send this podcast on to a friend if you know they need the news. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.